Okay, for this last graded wash, I want you to actually create another flat wash of the blue-green color. So you're going to want to do that. I have mine here already dried. And we're going to do a graded wash. This is going to be another nighttime sky, like our pine tree one. The green doesn't have to be super dark. Do I have another one here? Yeah, I had one. I think maybe I did this one wet on dry and this was wet on wet. So this one's a little bit darker. Actually, I could go with either one of these really because neither one of them is too dark. But actually, maybe I'll go with this one to start. So I've mixed up some blue, like a dark blue. I had blue here and I just grabbed some brown. Actually, I was experimenting with a little purple, throwing it, making it a little deeper with some red in there, but I didn't really like that. So I have this blue, kind of a deep blue, blue jean blue, if you will, with some brown in there. So what I'm going to do, and I'm switching to my flat brushes, I am going to pre-wet the surface. Now it's already been painted. You just have to be delicate with this. Okay, I'm going to get some water, plenty of water, and I'm going to spread it, kind of start at one end, start spreading it down. Very light touch. Don't scrub the surface. Okay. Just lightly. Okay. And I'm just kind of, you can't tell, but I'm just lightly skimming my brush over the surface to spread that out evenly. I'm kind of tilting my head sideways, which you can't see here either, to get the light reflection to make sure it's evenly coated. So I haven't really disturbed the paint too much, which is good. I didn't even really see anything kind of move around. All right, so that's good, letting that soak in a little bit. And I think I'm gonna stay with my big brush now to spread my paint out. Just letting that soak in a little bit. Hopefully my paint here is pretty thick. You want your paint, again, whenever you're doing wet on wet, you want your paint pretty thick because it's going to be diluted by the water that's on the surface. So I'm going to take some paint and just start working my way down here. I think I can get some more. See if I can get it a little bit darker. Who knows? I may end up having to do this twice. Soaking in over here because it's not getting either. I didn't have my paint as dark as I wanted it, so it's getting kind of that transition, that night sky transition. But I may want to do this because, well, let me see if I can mix up some more paint real quick before that dries. I might be able to here. Grab some blue, get it nice and thick. Grab some brown, making sure I don't overpower it too much and make it too, I don't want it black, I want a very deep blue. I don't know, I'm having trouble. I'm getting some brown out of there. There we go. All right, I think it's still pretty wet, so I can probably come in here again, add some more, but it keeps diluting. I can pull it down. I'm able to pull it down just a little bit more. We'll see what it looks like when it dries. Okay. And when you're, while it's still wet, let's see if that's going to even up a little bit here. I think because it's starting to wrinkle, I'm starting to get puddles here. And a couple of strokes help that out a little bit. And if you want to not worry, if you take your Kleenex or a paper towel, you can run it down along the edges. Just be careful not to get over onto your paper and smear anything. And you can kind of soak up some of those. What happens sometimes is you get these puddling along the edges of your tape. If you're very careful, you can kind of just touch that with your, I don't know if you can see it, my hand's probably blocking it. You can just, I wouldn't worry about them too much, but if you do get a lot of puddling, you can just, if your Kleenex or your paper towel just kind of barely touches the edge, it will soak up some of that puddling along the edge too. So we'll let that dry, see if it's good enough. Decided I'm going to do this one more time. It ended up a little streaky anyway, so I'm going to wet it one more time and try this graded wash one more time. And you have to really let your paper dry too. Mine's still a little wrinkly because it wasn't like fully dry. So that's a little bit of a drawback and something you might want to hit it with your blow dryer to get some of the wrinkles. Let it really dry, because it might be dry to the touch on the surface, but the fibers, you know, the back side of it could still have some moisture in it, causing it to still want to wrinkle up on you. Okay, so I have it wet, and just doing that and kind of pulling it a little bit sort of evened it out. But I'm worried there's a big dip in the surface right here. You can kind of see it if I hold it at that angle there like that. But we're going to give it a shot anyway. So I've mixed up some more paint, even thicker now. Hopefully thicker. And let's see here. Pulling it down, pulling it down. Okay. Maybe I'll, one last time, and maybe I'll do sort of a irregular kind of X pattern, maybe brush stroke, to kind of blend in some of those brush strokes a little bit. Okay, that's not too bad. And when you pull, sometimes you just got to be, you know, very light on the surface so that you don't get those deep lines in there. So that's a little bit darker. Let's go with that. It's a little bit, a couple of light spots, but you know, that could be part of things, you know, distant clouds in the sky at night anyway, so we'll go with that.